In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. We turned up just a little bit. We forever thank Almighty God for coming as it was written and prophesied that He would come to seek and to save that which was lost. And we can find no other people fitting the description of the lost brother, the lost sister, or the lost sheep, except we, the 50 million or more, mentally and spiritually dead black men and black women here in the hells of North America. And so we thank Him for coming and raising up His messenger and His Messiah to the black man and black woman again here in the hells of North America. I speak of none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I thank the two of them for the man who is responsible for what I am and what I am becoming, and the man who is largely responsible for my spiritual rites of passage, and who is my mentor and teacher. I speak of none other than my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names, I greet you here in Queens at the African Poetry Theater, where culture is the byword and culture is used as a weapon. And to Brother John Watusi and to others who are responsible for the programming and the enlightenment and the supreme wisdom that comes out of this house, I am deeply honored, as I have stated, to have this opportunity to speak with you on this rainy night on the subject that has been given to me, which I think is a very good subject. And that subject that was given to me is police brutality. Who polices the police? It's a very serious subject, and so naturally my response has to be a very serious response. There are those who speak of police review boards, and there are many police review boards throughout North America. There are many police review boards that allegedly are set up to monitor the activity of the policing agencies. And certainly some good has come out of police review boards, but I do not believe that police review boards can deal with the high level of police brutality in the black community. Of all our studies, history is best qualified to reward our research. If we know what happened yesterday, then we can intelligently discuss police brutality today, because today is built on yesterday, and tomorrow indeed is built on today. The very coming into being and existence of the white man. Not too many people want to say the white man anymore. Not too many people even say the words white man together. And very few from a rostrum or a podium or a TV talk show or anywhere who will straight up call the white man the devil in 1997. So let's get that straight before I even get started. The white man is not a devil, but the devil. He is wicked by nature. He's the number one murderer, the number one robber, the number one raper, the number one lyncher, the number one enslaver, the number one colonizer. He is the chief shedder of blood on the face of the planet Earth, and no one has come close even to equaling the shedding of blood of the white man. As I started to say, his very existence is owed to the shedding of blood of the black man and black woman. There would be no white race if it were not for the genetic engineering, the grafting, the birth control, and the special process by which the white man came into existence, which required, again, the very shedding of blood of the black man and black woman. And so the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us that the circumstances surrounding the origin of a thing into the world determines the very nature of that thing. It codes that thing. It marks that thing. And that thing cannot help but do according to its coded nature. And if it is your bloodshed, and it is, that brought the white man into existence, then it must be your and my bloodshed that will keep him in power and in control. And so white supremacy and global white domination and rapid racism that runs rampant throughout the face of the planet Earth is based on the murder of the black man and black woman, but black man first. The black man is public enemy number one. Public enemy number one. Oh, he does not spare the black woman. For the black woman is spotted and speckled with all of the shades of color of the color spectrum. Number one, she is all of the colors because she is the original woman. And out of her comes the black, the brown, the red, the yellow, and yes, out of her comes the white. But she is spotted and speckled today in another sense because of the rape of our great-great-grandmothers and our great-great-great-grandmothers. I'm not going to get into that. Hell, all of them were great. Straight on down the line. The raping of the black woman. So she has not been spared. But again, I say, public enemy number one is the black man. Why is the black man public enemy number one of the white man? The black man is public enemy number one when we study police brutality and global white supremacy. He is number one because as our great psychiatrists and psychologists such as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, such as Dr. Richard King, such as Dr. Naeem Akbar, such as Dr. Cedric X. Clark, and others have pointed out to us, Dr. Patricia Nona Kosawa Sekhmet, and others of our psychologists and psychiatrists, Dr. Merira Bridges, and others, as they have pointed out to us, the black man is public enemy number one because the world is a white male-dominated world. It is a white male-dominated world. And being a white male-dominated world, then he fears the number one threat to his global rule and his reign of white supremacy. And his number one threat is the black man. And so he fears that the black man will one day wake up. And if the black man, and when the black man one day wakes up, then there is the end to the white man's white supremacy. I'd like to, before I get into the body of my lecture, read a poem for you. I normally don't read poems, but this was just so good. I got to read this one. You want to hear a poem at the African Poetry Theater? Here where culture is a weapon. All right? The poem is called, it's by Brother Taimbe, the poem is by Taimbe Jess. And the poem is, when niggas love revolution like they love the bulls. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, youth will wear red, black, and green patches over the emblems on their starter jackets. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, brothers will gather regularly at barbershops and corner stops to discuss George Jackson and to discuss the handbook of revolutionary warfare and people's war before they go home to take care of their children each night. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, playground basketball courts will become paramilitary training grounds where we learn to shoot guns at the enemy and not baskets for bets. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, we will spend hours and hours watching our children grow into soldiers and not basketball players. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, we will know CIA stats, FBI stats, infant mortality stats, police brutality stats, political prisoners and prisoners of war, and literacy training techniques like we know Paxson's shoe size, or Shaq's shoe size, or the way we know Rodman or Pippen's rebounds, or Grant's salary, and all the intimate details of Michael's last gambling spree. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, you will be able to ask any youth on the street, who is Sundiata Acoli? Who is Assata Shakur? Who is Sekou Odinga? Who is Ruchell McGee and Jonathan Jackson? You will be able to ask, who is Matula Shakur? Who is Queen Mother Moore? And they will be able to tell you without skipping a beat. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, you will go on to ask them about Michael Jordan, and they will say, who? When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, masses of us will go down to tear up Carolina coroner and his office to find out what really happened to James Jordan, instead of waiting on the word of newspapers and sheriff's offices. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, we will show up in Washington, D.C. with the Million Man March, with our God and with our guns. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, they will start to seriously wonder why one Negro putting a brown ball through a white net makes more money in one season than they will make in an entire lifetime, and do something about it. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, you will see Phil Jackson running up and down an empty court minutes before game time screaming, "Where are my niggas? Where are my niggas? Where are my niggas?" as the niggas leave the stadium to go build liberation schools in their community. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, all niggas will refuse to shoot ball with the president, with or without their dashikis on. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, will become associated with the sound that CIA agents, snitches, rats, and agent provocateurs who join our organizations and work against the legitimate aspirations of our people who yearn to breathe free, drug dealers and others will make when they are thrown gracefully face first into open manholes. Whoosh. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, Nike will no longer be able to sell $160 basketball shoes in the black community, because we would rather spend the money on liberation and revolution. Thank you. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, they will love it more than chitlins, more than All My Children, more than Jerry Curls, more than permanence, more than Cadillacs and Mercedes-Benz and Rolls-Royces and BMWs, cars. When niggas love revolution like they love the bulls, when niggas love their family like they love the bulls, when niggas love their children like they love the bulls, when niggas love to be free like they love the bulls, when niggas love struggle like they love the bulls, when niggas love dignity like they love the bulls, when niggas love niggas like they love the bulls, we will become black people and all the bullshit will hit the fan. Understanding the very origin and the nature and the coding of the white man, and understanding that his very existence and world control and domination and the maintaining of white supremacy is based on the murder of the black man and woman, then it is no wonder that police brutality is to the level that it is in black communities all over America. The cold-blooded murder of Brother Aswan there in Brooklyn just a few weeks, months ago, shot 20 times, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 times. Brother Jerry Lee Amy in Los Angeles shot 39 times, over 6 feet tall, shot even on his shoulders, which meant, did the cracker get on a step ladder and shoot him on his shoulders, or did they shoot him and shoot him and shoot him down to the ground and keep shooting him even after he was on the ground? You don't have to shoot a damn elephant 39 times to kill an elephant. And Jerry Lee Amy, as always, as all of us are, was the wrong man. Cracker was looking for a robbery suspect. Jerry Lee Amy is playing with his daughter in the front yard, and as they are running across the front yard, the cracker assumes that he is a so-called fugitive of just us, and so they shoot him down on his lawn in front of his baby girl. Brother Philip Purnell would still be alive. In New Jersey, Brother Lewis there in St. Petersburg, Florida, would still be alive as the crackers rolled up on him and claimed that his car lunged forward, that one was on the side and the other one, what kind of fool this is, I don't know. The other cop was supposedly in front of the car looking through the front of the windshield. Common sense would tell a damn fool. You don't have to be a policeman that you don't stand in front of the vehicle. But they claimed the vehicle lunged forward. They shot him. The policeman was never hit by the vehicle. The vehicle never crashed anywhere into the pole or anywhere on the side. Brother Lewis would still be alive if we understood this dynamic better than we understand it. Our brother in Johnny Gamage in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who was there in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and the crackers said that he stepped on his brakes and his brake lights came on too many times. His brake lights were blinking too many times, and so they snatched him from the vehicle, and all of them jumped on top of him and beat him and choked him until they choked in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Brother Johnny Gamage to death. Sister Eula May Love and the many that are from the New York area, from the New Jersey area, from Chicago, from Los Angeles, from the South, and throughout. All of them, brothers and sisters, victims of police brutality, and we don't even have the time to name all of us killed at the hands of brute beast police. It was former Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall who spoke at Coward Jew University, sometimes called Howard University. And as he spoke there, he said that the Ku Klux Klan, that the white paramilitary right-wing organizations, the Nazis and others, that the Klan no longer just wears white hoods and white sheets, but now the Klan wears blue uniforms, carries a badge or a shield and a legal quote-unquote weapon, that the Klan now wears black robes and sits on the judge's bench to rule from the courtroom. And so Thurgood Marshall, having been a Supreme Court justice, too afraid to make bold stands himself, but in a sense like the spook who sat by the door, on his way out, he could begin to give up a little bit of the truth. And right here in New York, we have Judge Bruce Wright. And as we read his book, Black Robes, White Justice, in Black Robes, White Justice, Judge Bruce Wright gives us the inside track on the criminal justice system of the white man. And never call it a criminal justice system unless you put the adjective in front of it, that it is a criminal justice system. In fact, it is the criminal justice system. It is no wonder that there is police brutality, because The white man is a criminal. He's the #1 criminal on the face of the planet Earth. Criminals established the criminal justice system of white America. Every law in the penal code system of the state of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, California, Georgia, no matter where, and the penal code for the federal government of the United States of America. Every law in the penal code book, every law was broken by the white man in order to establish that state, to establish this state, and to establish what he calls the United States of America. Every law. Some of you saw us on Herald Ho. That's what he is. It's a little Ebonics. I can't call him Herald Whore. Ebonically speaking, he's Herald Ho. You saw us with Dr. Alvin Poussant. How many saw it? Poor Dr. Alvin Poussant got up and walked off the stage. Didn't want to be on the stage with me. He said, I can't sit here with Khalid Muhammad. He said, Dr. Khalid Muhammad has said some of the worst things and taken some of the most racist and anti-Semitic stances that I have ever heard of before. He went on to say, even Minister Farrakhan had to get rid of Khalid Muhammad. In other words, he was saying, damn, if Farrakhan had to get rid of him, you know he must be bad. All praises due to Allah. So Dr. Alvin Poussant of Harvard University, psychiatrist, eminent scholar among us, got up from the podium on national television. Some saw it internationally. We knew a month or two before the program, everybody that was going to be on the program. He knew I was going to be on. I knew he was going to be on. They had the other Negro, what's his name, the prosecutor in the OJ case. Christopher Darden. He was on there. Christopher Darden was there. I brought some Kleenex for him. I didn't get a chance to pass them to him on the program. You remember old Chris Darden, upholding the criminal justice system of white America and supporting white supremacy and cold-blooded police brutality. You remember him that after they lost the case, he stood with Marsha Clark and cried like a baby, just broke down and boo-hooed. Marsha Clark took it like a man, but he broke down and cried like a baby. Why was Christopher Darden crying? He was crying because it was a flashback to the plantation. Every plantation had an old nigga that was a fast nigga. And this nigga, when they were getting ready to whip another nigga, that's not my word, that's their word for us. And if everybody stands up in front of you and dresses it up and tiptoes through the tulips and beats around the bush and dilly-dallies, you'll go right back to sleep. Because some of you want to go back to sleep. Oh, he's using the N-word. Damn N-word. Why do you use the N-word? Because that's what the cracker calls us every day and night. Texaco is not alone. It's Texaco, Shell, Chevron, Texaco, Amoco, all of the crackers. It wasn't just Avis. Avis Rent-A-Car said they didn't want to rent cars to niggas. Say whatever you do, but just if you can get around it, don't rent the darn car to a nigga. That's what Avis said. How many of them saw it in the news? Avis said, look, the niggas put their cigarettes out on the seats. Niggas leave chewing guns stuck on the steering wheel. Niggas have a flat, leave a donut on the damn car. They said the niggas just tear up all the rent-a-cars. Say, you know, we need their money, but we lose so much. Can you try not to rent to them? Tell them something's wrong with their driver's license, their credit card, anything. Bally. You know, Bally with the shoes and stuff. I don't know what the thing was with them. They were talking about. But to all of the crackers, we're niggas, some to our face, others behind closed doors. Ask Tiger Woods. He's called the winner of the Masters, which is supposed to make him a baby a master. But to the cracker, he's just another fried chicken, collard green eating nigger. That's all. You might be able to swing a golf stick between your legs and choose the right iron and knock a little white scrawny ball into a hole in black Mother Earth on green grass, which is a game representing global control and white supremacy. That's why they play on the green. And that's why it's a little white ball representing the testicles of the white man. And you must choose the right size iron. They make a big deal over the size of the iron. To knock this little scrawny white ball into a hole in black Mother Earth. But it's a game for control of the turf, of the green, of the land, of the earth. Here comes a baby, 21 years old? 21 years old. And beats all of them potbelly over the hill, old peckerwoods, who've been playing golf all their life, some of them. So the cracker just got mad. We call him a fried chicken eating, collard green eating little boy. Say the little boy is doing everything right. Those crackers were embarrassed. They just let black people into the Masters in the 90s and only have about 2. And then he comes in and just takes over and beats them all. But to them, to us, we may be proud that he's a master in the golfing world. But to them, just a fried chicken, collard green eating nigger. Alan Keyes ran for president, wanted to be a Republican. Ain't no difference in the Republican or the Democrat. The political system of the white man will never get us out of this condition. You can run out there and register to vote as much as you want to and brag about how many people you registered to vote. For what? So you registered so many and so many to vote. Will it change the condition of black people? We've been voting ever since the white man allowed us to vote. And we're still in the same condition, if not in a worse condition. And every time you think you voted in a good initiative or a new initiative that is supposed to be for and in our best interest, the white man changes the rules of the game and changes in the twinkling of an eye and turns back the hands of the clock. You thought affirmative action, many thought it was here to stay. You thought food stamps were here to stay. Some of you were big niggas in the community. You had a big roll of food stamp. You be flipping and flashing your food stamp on the rest of the slaves. You had more food stamps than any slave in the community. Peckerwood talking about welfare reform. Democratic presidents signed it, the Republican constituency behind it, both Democrat and Republican. But this Negro, Alan Keyes, wanted to be a Republican candidate for president. And they had a debate down there in Atlanta, Georgia. He went down to the debate. Clinton is there, Slick Willie. That's what they call him, Slick Willie, and he is slick. Screwed everything that wasn't screwed down when he was in Arkansas. Had the state troopers sneaking women in, bringing them through the window, through the back door of the state house. Poor Hillary somewhere with the dog and the bird and that ugly little daughter they got. Then he says he used to smoke weed, but he didn't inhale. You know, why not just leave a lie alone? The old folks say if you tell one lie, you're going to have to tell another one. He smoked weed, but he didn't inhale. Huh? This is crazy as it can be. Would you buy a used car from a guy named Slick Willie? He was there. Buchanan was there. The multi-billion-dollar peckerwood with the big ears. Pinocchio's nose grew from lying so much. You got $1 billion, you're doing some lying and serious stealing. And you white. So his nose is not growing, this cracker's ears are growing. He was at the debate. All these big crackers, Alan Keyes, the Negro, saying he wanted the good old days to come back. Now, I don't know what this nigga was thinking about. But somehow he worked himself up for that. Showed up in Atlanta as the Republican candidate, a Republican candidate to debate. Showed up at the door. They say, huh? He said, I'm Alan Keyes. I'm here for the debate. They say, for what? I'm a candidate for president. I'm here for the debate. They say, nigga, you here for what? What do you have to say, nigga? He said, but I was a candidate for president. I was a Republican. They said, nigga, you better get on away from here. He said, but I have a right to come in here. They said, call the police. They called the police on this nigga, put him in handcuffs, threw the Republican guy, Negro, running for the Republican slot with the other Republicans, in a police squad car and dropped his behind off in one of the worst sections of Atlanta, Georgia, I guess hoping he would get mugged or beat upside the damn head. To other Negroes, he was a candidate for the high office of the presidency of the United States of America. But to the crackers at the debate, he was just another nigga. Listen, nigga, you ain't got no business in here. And they didn't even let the nigga come in to use the toilet. Sent his behind away. You had other Negroes say that if they went Republican, they would have the keys to the White House. When it was over, niggas didn't even have the keys to the outhouse. But it makes no difference whether it's Republican or Democrat. And I'm going to say this whether you like it or not, but somebody has to say it. It makes no difference whether it's an independent political party. Democrat, Republican, independent political party, as long as you're playing by the rules of the white man, you still are not going to win. Separation is the best and only solution into a land or territory of your own. You say, well, I'm a black nationalist. How in the hell you going to be a black nationalist and you ain't thinking about no separation? You can't have a nation unless you separate from your enemy and your oppressor. But nobody wants to talk separation now. You ask them a question about separation and they start tiptoeing and scratching it. Well, you know, that's a last resort, you know. After, well, you see, if we can't get along together, well, hell, how much more time do you need to know that we can't get along together? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said the white man is absolutely disagreeable to get along with in peace, and that no one has been able to get along with him anywhere on the face of the planet Earth. The honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say if we can't work things out with the white man, if we can't get justice from the white man. He said, since we can't get justice from the white man. Since is a foregone conclusion. Since means it's already decided, the matter is decided. It's already determined that we can't get along with this cracker. But many want to tiptoe. You don't want a nation of your own. That's not everybody here. When I say you, I mean us in general. Separation is the only solution. The white man broke every law in the state and federal penal code system in order to establish every state in the United States and to establish the United States itself. His Army, his Navy, his Air Force, his Marine Corps, his Coast Guard, these are national policing agencies. He has national policing agencies, FBI. He has international and global policing agencies, Army, Navy, Air Force, alliances, NORAD and NATO and all of this to control the globe like a big white octopus. He has his tentacles stretched out across the globe as a national and international policeman. Then state police, then county police, then city police. Huh? And even the boroughs have special police. Then you go to the damn building and the building got some special police. Here's a cracker watching you in the toilet in some of the buildings. He's standing around wondering and checking. I don't know what he's doing. That's another subject for another time. Police everywhere. What's the purpose? To maintain white supremacy. To maintain global white supremacy. To protect what has been stolen from the rest of the world. The police are not our friend. Now there are black police organizations that are coming up, and some of them are conscious. Some black policemen buck the whole the whole white police establishment. Conscious black policemen who are tired and sick and tired of being tired, who have consciousness, are beginning to build black policing organizations right in major precincts and some minor precincts all over the country, and it's worrying the white man to death. Conscious black policemen, some of them are actually recruiting other policemen, pulling them to the side, teaching them, giving them tapes, giving them liberation literature, taking them to meetings and rallies and conferences so that that gun that they have on their hip and that shield that they have can be used for us in times of escalated war. Some black policemen are actually preparing for war as we stand here and talk here tonight. The marshals, the U.S. marshals, black marshals, talking of filing a class action suit against the United States Marshals Department. Black members of the so-called Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI agents, have filed class action suits against the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Because black policemen are now right in there with them, checking them out every day. Why does the devil keep us apart from his social equality? Let me send a shout out to all the gods in the earth in the house. Peace. Why does the devil keep us apart from his social equality? That's why you got the CIA, the FBI, black CIA, black FBI, black policemen, black marshals, black sheriffs. Some of them now standing up. You got 5%ers, 5% sheriffs. Everything has a 5%, a 10%, and 85%. You got a 5% among the policemen coming up, conscious, black as they can be, all across the country. And now that they have been in there where the white man is, they have found out how filthy he is, how wicked he is, how evil he is, and all his affairs. And in finding out how filthy, how wicked, and how evil he is in all his affairs, now the white man wants to run them from among them. And so he's now bringing certain pressure to bear against them and forcing them to take him to court. And I say, like Lorraine Hansberry said, who gave us A Raisin in the Sun and raised the question, what happens to a dream deferred? And ultimately she says, or does it just explode? As she gives us the other options. Lorraine Hansberry, who was nobody's revolutionary. Lorraine Hansberry talked about fighting this cracker by any means necessary. She talked about those who want to use the march to use the march. Those who want to use the ballot to use the ballot. She said those who want to challenge him in court, take him to court, as these black policemen and marshals and sheriffs and others are taking the cracker to court. But she said that there should be others who are armed. Lorraine Hansberry talking, who will shoot from their windows, she said, when these races come into our community. Now that's Lorraine Hansberry. Some of y'all say, what kind of berry was strawberry? Who? Lorraine Hansberry. What's that? What's raspberry? Who is Lorraine Raspberry? I said Hansberry. Now, what kind of berry is a Hansberry? Go and look up. She's gone on to the realm of the Egun now, to the ancestors. But study about Lorraine Hansberry and look up her work, A Raisin in the Sun. And you will get a feel for her and a feel for her life. And she talked about shooting, and there would be others who would be shooting from their windows when the racists would come into our community. I'm almost finished. I don't believe that taking the cracker to court is going to solve it. But I would rather see our brothers who are gaining consciousness on the police force, FBI, CIA, marshals, and sheriffs and others, take the cracker to court while they organize on another level. But when you take Frank James to court and Jesse James is the judge, how in the hell do you expect Jesse James to convict Frank James when that's his brother? If Frank James took something from you and you come to court and tell Jesse that Frank took it from you, all Jesse is concerned with is whether Frank left anything over for him to take. So when you take the white man to court, you're taking the criminal to the criminal, into a criminal justice system set up by crackers, criminals, and Satan himself. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. The Bible says blood will flow in the streets to the horse's bridle. Can you imagine that? A horse's bridle? Blood will flow in the streets to the horse's bridle. Another scripture says, as you have delighted in taking our blood, you will be given your own blood to drink like water. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when we were tight and close, he used to tell me as he was teaching me, and he would tell many of us how when he was sitting with his spiritual father, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, how sometimes he would be riding in the car with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and white folks would be passing in front of the car at the stoplight, and the honorable Elijah Muhammad would touch him and say, Brother Louis, have you ever seen a people in whom there is no good at all? And Minister Farrakhan said, no, sir, dear apostle. He said, well, there goes one right there. No good in them at all. And he says the most honorable Elijah Muhammad used to talk about how he would torture the white man, how he would like to take his fingernails off one by one, take his eyeballs out of the socket, what he would do with the skin of the white man. And how he said he would like to cut crackers' throats or cut devils' throats until the blood started rising up to his chin. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me from his own mouth that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that as he cut white folks' throats, cut the devil's throats, and the blood rose up, coming up over his head, that he prayed that Allah would give him the strength to just cut one more cracker's throat before the blood rose up over his head. Now, for some of you, this subject may be a little rough. They should have issued you some seat belts when you came in. And if for any reason this cultural center becomes depressurized, an oxygen mask will automatically fall from the ceiling. Please place it firmly over your mouth and nose and breathe freely, and then help the weak one next to you. But everything will be all right. You don't give me a subject on police brutality and expect me to come and tiptoe and just speak on police review boards and speak on how we can find ways to take them to court. And no, what I'm going to tell you tonight, in the language that I will tell you tonight, I probably have never said directly, though I have said indirectly and partially directly many times. We must arm ourselves or harm ourselves. We must arm the masses. Are you saying that? Yes, as brother points to his head, we must be armed with supreme wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We must be armed with our history, our heritage, our culture, our legacy, our God, and the spirit and the power of the God of our ancestors. We must be armed with still cameras, video cameras, film cameras, so that black people like Dr. Huey P. Newton and Brother Bobby Seale and Brother Kwame Ture, like the Black Panther Party in the early days, made sure to monitor every time cops stop black people anywhere on the streets or in an alley, you should have your video camera going. You should have your camera taking pictures. You should have your tape recorder on. You should be armed with your tape recorder, your video camera. You should be armed with your still camera, with your movie camera. You should be, or whatever, the millimeters, I don't know all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. What they call them, all them things that you take to home movies and stuff with. Huh? I guess I got to super ace all that. I got to learn the weapons. I got to learn the weapons. You got to be armed with all of that. But we also got to arm ourselves with weapons. But I thought you were with the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, well, I'd love to be with the Nation of Islam. But the Nation of Islam at this point apparently has no place for me and has pushed me out and has now put me off limits. I can't attend any mosque anywhere in the Nation of Islam. I'm not going to sit down in a corner and cry. I'm going to stand up and fight this peckerwood, fight this bastard as best I can. And I believe we must arm ourselves or harm ourselves. If we were all armed, we'd have a better community. There would be less rape in the black community. Ain't no damn fool gonna run up on a bunch of women knowing all of them packing. Any kind of heat in your pants behind your zipper is gonna get awfully cold when sister pull out a 9mm. Huh? Be less rape in the black community if all were armed. Our elders would be able to walk the streets and go cash their little checks. If you knew that Uncle Bubba, Aunt Chili Red, Big Mama, and Uncle Naps, huh? Cutting Norma Jean. Don't be acting like you out here in Queens and you ain't got nobody in your family with them names. Because you left the cornbread crumbs a trail on your way coming in here. Look, don't you know what nobody or very few would rob Big Mama? Or cutting Norma Jean, trying to go cash her little check if they knew that they had a piece, if they knew they had their gat with them? Huh? Don't you know that Malcolm would probably still be alive that Sunday, February 21st, 1965, if fools walked into that auditorium and knew that everybody in the auditorium was armed to the teeth? You don't walk in to take out the people's hero and you know everybody in the damn audience is armed. Even the little old lady dipping snuff in the audience got her pistol in her purse. The hell you gonna shoot Malcolm and make it out of the damn door? Queen Mother Moore tells the story of the days when she was with the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And they were at the ILA, the International Longshoremen's Association Hall in New Orleans, Louisiana. And they were trying to deport Mr. Garvey from the country. And they had told, the chief of police had told Mr. Garvey, had sent a decree out in an order that if Marcus Garvey spoke at the Longshoremen's Hall, he said, I'm going to run you in. I'm going to arrest you. And so Mr. Garvey showed up, and the members of UNIA showed up, and Queen Mother Moore and all the young girls were there. And you know Queen Mother could tell the story when she was telling the story. She saying, honey, you know how she tell it, honey. She say the chief of police rolled up with police everywhere. And Mr. Garvey was there, ready to speak, and the chief of police stuck his finger in the air and he said, if you say a word, Garvey, I'll run you in. And Queen Mother Moore saying, honey, we all stood up on the chairs. She said we reached under our dresses and we reached in our bras and we reached in, she said, Colt 45s and Smith & Wessons and everything went in the air. And she said all you could hear was a choir or a chorus from the people saying, speak, Garvey, speak. And Mr. Garvey said it as I was saying. Garvey said it as I was saying. Some of you are foolish enough to say, well, no, what we need is books. Yes, we need books. We must study. We must study from our scholars. We must study from Dr. Ben. We must study from Dr. Clark. We must study from Dr. Maulana Karenga. We must study from Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. George G.M. James, Dr. Jeffries and Dr. Jeffries, and on and on. We must study all of them. But at the same time, we can't say I ain't gonna study war no more. You can't say that. You say, well, we don't need guns, we need books. Shut up, fool. The white man make all the guns. How we gonna go up against the white man? We can't compete with the white man with all the guns. Well, fool, he make all the books. How you gonna compete with him if he makes all the books? You willing to go that route? I was talking to a young Sunni Muslim brother at Mark 125 yesterday. He said, well, do you really think we still oppressed? In America, I'm not lying, as God is my witness. Young brother, but he still has, he has a good chance, this young brother. He said, you think we still oppressed? And he went on to show me how things had changed and how we weren't oppressed anymore. He really believed that. And I told him, since I knew he was coming from Islam, I told him that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Prophet Muhammad said, you must stop the oppressor. Stop the hand of the oppressor. Physically stop him. The Holy Quran says, and fight. Fight with those who fight against you. That persecution and bloodshed, that persecution and the murder of your people is worse than bloodshed. Quran says it's better to go on and fight and shed some blood, but persecution and the shedding of blood and the slaughter of your people, it's not worse than dealing with your enemy and shedding your enemy's blood. Fight with those who fight against you. It says, and drive them out from where they drove you out. It says, and fight with them until there is no more war. Fight with them until there is no more bloodshed. I told him that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, stop the hand of the oppressor. Physically, fight him. But Prophet Muhammad goes on to say, if you can't fight him physically and stop his hand physically, speak out against him. Strongly speak out against him. And if you can't stop him physically and stop the hand of the oppressor physically, if you can't speak out boldly and strongly against him, Prophet Muhammad says, then secretly protest in your heart. But secret protest in your heart is the poorest and the weakest form of protest, he said. He said, oh, see, I put his man on him. That's the way we got to be. We got to know all of the doctrines, all of the philosophy, all of the ideology, so we can go after our people and bridge the gap and pull them together and form an African united front or a black united front. But we got to know what they know and then some. So when I put Prophet Muhammad on him and told him that, you know, if you want to secretly protest in your heart, the Nabi or the Prophet said that's the poorest form of protest. Then he's ready to talk. So the day he saw me, I was over there. He was very excited. He wanted another conversation. So I dropped a little something else on him, and he's a good little brother coming along. I'm almost there, if you will give me just a few more minutes. There would be less police brutality if the masses were armed. Mark Furman's would be hard to find. Mark Furman was not an exception to the rule. Mark Furman talked about the brotherhood of policemen, the fraternity of policemen. He said that the policeman is God. That's what he said. There's the devil saying that the policeman is God. He's judge, jury, and executor. Huh? Right on the spot. He talked about how he used to beat black men and women and Chicano brothers and sisters until he would just beat the waste out of them, beat the mess out of them. He said, then you could smell the niggas and the You could smell the niggas and I guess you call them the Mexicans or the Chicanos. You could spell them. I mean, you could smell them stinking. He said you couldn't get into the jail for the stench coming from them. They just beat them until they urinate on themselves, beat them until their bowels would waste all over. He said he'd grab them and just throw them down the steps, just throw them down. And another cracker down at the other end of the steps, or catch them at the other end of the steps, kick them and beat them. No, you got to, I'm here to tell you that the only way you're going to stop police brutality is you got to stand up and be brutal with this damn beast. You got to step to this cracker or it will never stop. You can moan, you can groan, you can sing, you can pray, you can recite, you can claim you know all the Quran, Old Testament, all the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, the Quran from Al-Fatiha to Al-Nas. You can know all the Medunete. You can know Maya, truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity. You can name those of the Netter system. You can go and study the Odu text and substantiate your position according to Odu. You can study the Ifa, or the Word, or the Akan, or the Yoruba, and run through the pantheon of the Orisha. You can call on Olodumare. You can call on Ilegba and Shango and Obatula and Oshun and Ogun and Yemonya. You can know all of that. But unless you're willing to stand up and step to this white man, we will never get out of this condition. Frederick Douglass said the limits of a tyrant is prescribed by exactly how far you will let that tyrant go. He won't stop if you don't stop him. It's like any bully. The bully will keep picking on you until you get him to raise up off of you. But some of us will lose our lives. Tupac is gone already. Biggie is gone already. Many of us, Yusuf Hawkins is gone already. Many of us are already dead, and we're dying every day. And while we're here in Queens tonight, black men and women and young black boys are dying at the hands of some cracker somewhere in America right now. I would rather die for a cause than to die because you in some bar room pinching somebody's wife on the booty on the bar stool and get your throat cut with a Miller Lite bottle. Damn. It's a hell of a life, man. That's a hell of a way to go. Say your daddy got killed. Say, yeah. How did he get killed? Say he pinched somebody's wife on the booty at the bar stool. The dude picked up a Miller Lite bottle of Budweiser Light and broke it and cut his throat. Is that the way he died? Well, he died in the East Coast, West Coast fight. East Coast, West Coast. You're a damn fool. You'll die over some bullshit? Some damn records? A damn CD? You are what you call a recording studio gangster? Oh, you bad as hell in the recording studio. Shit, ain't a nigga in the world badder than you. Capone couldn't mess with you. Babyface, Nelson, none of them couldn't mess with you. A recording studio gangster. You just as bad as you can be. You gonna put your gat in the nigga's mouth and blow the nigga's brains out. I'll stomp that hoe. I'll kick that bitch. White man show up, you can hear a rat pee on cotton. Nigga ain't ready to fight. Nigga ain't ready to fight. I say we must arm the masses. Most of y'all got guns anyway. You shoot them for the 4th of July. Damn day that ain't even your Independence Day. Yes, you do. You shoot them on New Year's and New Year ain't in yet. You just got them, they're just toys. Or you'll go get them on your wife. Draw the gun on her because she burnt the beans for the 4th time. She'll just go order some beans. Or she'll draw the pistol on you because the phone rang at 2 in the morning and you stayed on too long, talking too low. Two or three brothers so bad. I'm Crip. 2 or 3 brothers so bad, I'm Blood. They'll go off into territory of their rival brother gang and face bumper jacks, face chains, baseball bats, pipes, 9s, AKs, face everything in a fratricidal war with your kith and kin, your flesh and blood, your brother, your sister. The goddamn white man come, you throw the guns under the damn car, throw the damn guns in the bushes, he make 50 niggas spread up against the wall, 1 peck of wood. All right, get up against the wall, buddy. Don't move, guy. Here's Will Kill Johnson. Here's Bloody Blood. And all them crazy names you got. Here's Shotgun. All of them spread up against the wall. Come on. I don't never read about no drive-bys at the police station. You bad. You a gangster when it come to another brother or sister. I never heard of you shooting at the police station and busting on a cracker while they eating Dunkin' Donuts. I never heard of a cracker's head falling in his KFC chicken box because you went by and blasted him, gaffled him straight up while he eating his greasy chicken and French fry. You ain't got the heart, but you'll kill your own. I get sick of these forums of you talking about what's done to us. The black man has to take a stand. We ain't gonna get out of this condition. The Bible says, arise, arise, awake ye men of Zion. Shake yourself from the dust. You used to rule the earth. Now we groveling at some cracker's feet. And if your brother stands up and speaks boldly and speaks of war with the enemy, you back off from him and run like a little sissy. I don't agree with that cheap language. Kind of damn cheap language. There is no special way to talk to the enemy. Well, you got to be polite with the enemy. Well, you shouldn't talk about the Pope. Who in the hell is the Pope? He's not just the Pope of Rome, he's the goddamn punk of Rome. There's some faggot sitting up in the Vatican somewhere, fondling little boys and stuff. You don't know what's under that damn dress. You might find out that the Pope of Rome is Mother Superior. Give a damn about no Pope. Somebody has to pull down the idols, bust up the idols. The Pope is an idol. I'm not going to talk about Kennedy or Clinton, and I'm going to speak of them in such respectful terms. Mr. President, hell no, this is the murderer of my people. I say, you no good bastard. If I say Mr. at all, I say Mr. Devil. Yes, sir, Mr. Devil. Why? I'm giving him honorable mention in his high position of evil and wickedness. What is this stuff that's going on? In the 60s, there was the talk of revolution everywhere. Some of our revolutionaries are now locked down. I know there are days and nights when as they languish in the prison cells, that they just cry and cry when everybody else is asleep because they gave up their lives. They sacrificed because they believed that there would be continuity and struggle. And they believed that a generation would rise up and finish what they started. But you looking for a way to be hip, slick, cute, and cool, and sing your way out, and march your way out, and dance your way out, and rap your way out, and vote your way out, and marry crackers on your way out. That's not going to get us out. That's going to get us took out. I know it's taken out, but it's going to get us took out. Took out. And understand Ebonics. It comes from the West Niger Congo African language group. It's not broken English. It's real. Your language is actually what you hear and speak in your home environment. That's your language. English is a second language for us. That's why we do it the way we do it. It's a second language, and coming up out of our history and our genetic memory bank from the West Niger Congo African language system is what is called now Ebonics. Study our great linguist, Dr. Ernie Smith, and others who are opening up the way for us to battle this cracker and to clear all of this up. These were some of the key points. There are blacks who are in the military who are gaining consciousness on a daily and consistent basis. According to the King Alfred Plan, in the book by John A. Williams called The Man Who Cried, I Am. Some say it's not true, some say it's true. I say we better check it out. In the King Alfred Plan, the book The Man Who Cried, I Am by John A. Williams, it gives us a countdown, an emergency countdown of what the white man, the government of the United States of America would do on a national, state, a regional, state, county, and citywide level to put down revolution and rebellion and insurrection inside of America. In addition to the King Alfred Plan, we have public law called the McCarran Act. The McCarran Act is public law. It begins by saying once the ghetto is sealed off, and depending on the violence being perpetrated by the warring guerrillas, the following actions must be taken. And they go on to give step by step, once the ghetto, as they call it, is sealed off, what following actions must be taken to engage us, as they call us, the warring guerrillas. War is coming in this country on an escalated scale. We're already in war. Some of us may not be at war, but we are in war. The cracker is fighting and everybody else, we may not all be fighting. But war on an escalated scale is coming in this country where the color of your skin will be your uniform. Plain and simple. They won't care whether you're a PhD nigga. Won't care if you're a MS nigga or a BS nigga. Won't care what kind of degree you got, magna cum laude, summa cum laude, or thank you laude. It won't make no damn difference at all. They won't care if you are Muslim or Muslim or Muslim. It won't make no damn difference. Or we're not killing the Muslim niggas today. They won't care if you're a born again Christian. Praise the Lord. We're not killing the praise the Lord niggas today. They won't care if you're a Democratic nigga or a Republican nigga. It won't make no difference. They won't care if you Michael Jordan and you can shoot 54 points, 66 points in a game, or if you Wilt Chamberlain and you can shoot 100. We're not killing the niggas who can make 100 points in the basketball game. As war escalates in this country, as the white man sees us as niggas, the color of our skin will be our uniform. And it will not be the ballot or the bullet. It will be the bullet or the bullet. It won't be a case 30 years later, as it was then, of the chickens coming home to roost, but a case of the chickens coming home to roast. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Hold your positions, brothers and sisters. Hold your positions. How many of you understood? Be seated. Be seated, please. How many of you understood what you heard? Let me see your hands. Hands down. How many of you believe what you heard to be the truth and good for black people? Let me see your hand. Let me see. I'm trying to do a survey here. How many of you don't know what the hell you believe? Let me see your hand. Might be somebody. Be honest. Brothers and sisters, if you have one or two questions with brother and brother's permission, we could take one or two. Our esteemed cameraman who is documenting this this evening, and is documenting this moment in history. The technician who is documenting it. What's your name, brother? I'm sorry. Brother Ra. All right. Brother Ra, ask that if you have a question that you stand up to ask your question. Oh, yes, sir. All right. Do you have baskets or buckets of some kind? Brothers and sisters, as we do the questions, and it probably would be the best time as it was just brought to my attention because some may have to go. I was just the other night at D&J bookstore with Brother Salim, Brother David, and others over there, and flew in for these two engagements. I found out that Brother Kareem had pushed and twisted a few arms and did everything, and from what I'm hearing, to make sure that they happened. And I flew in. Just the airfare alone was $400 to come here. And there are other expenses. So what we're asking is that you would hold the buckets, and please, brother, hold it. Just there you go. There, he got it. We're asking that you would make contributions at this time to help in a major and significant way. We're asking if there's anyone who will write a good check or give $100 or $50 as we get started. You can pull out your 50s also. If you got good food stamps, I wish we could take those too. But anybody with $100 that they will donate, 100 or 50, or who will write a good check. Sister has her hand, and brother, what are your names, brother and sister? Kenyatta, Brother Kenyatta, and sister, and his queen, Sister Fulami. How much, sir? $50. Give them a strong black hand, brothers and sisters. Is there anyone else who, it would either be made out, I guess it would be made out to me or cash, either one. It might be easy to make it out to cash if you don't mind, because I'm all over and I don't know where I'll have to put it, okay? Is there anyone else who will donate $50 or $100 or write a good check? 50 or 100 or write a good check. I'm going to press you for a few minutes. How many checks do we have? How many 50s do we have? How many hundreds do we have? While you're thinking about it, and some are getting your 25s out and your 30s and your 35s and your 10s and your 15s. "30 years from now, 40 years from now, many of us will remember this night. Some of the babies who are here will remember this night 30, 40 years from now. Everything we're doing right now is documented history. Documented history. What's that baby's name? Right there. What's the little one's name? Sister Kalina. Sister Kalina, and what's her name? And Sister Princess. What's your name, sir? Brother Waji Omar. Where, any other babies? Where are the other babies? Little ones here. Those are the main ones. Let's give them a strong black hand. And the other youth that are in this audience here tonight. How many questions do we have? Is this a question? One question? Two questions? Three questions? Four questions? Okay, go right ahead, brother. Peace, Allah.
Dr. Khalid, peace. I appreciate
Peace.
you and the work that you're doing. I know I am expressing the very same views that a lot of people feel about you, that unfortunately some people are not here tonight, but we really appreciate what you're doing. I'd like you to elaborate briefly on what your feelings are based on the father that started the 5% Nation, and what do you see the role of the 5% Nation in particular in New York? What do you feel our role should be as being the vanguards?
It's a very good question. I appreciate your question. Let's give Brother Peace Allah a strong hand, strong black hand for his question. My feelings about the father, Brother Clarence 13, who started the 5% Nation of Islam, and what do I feel is the role of the 5% Nation of Islam. First of all, I'm a 5%er. There's no way on earth I could be a 10%er. I'm not a bloodsucker of the poor. I'm certainly not a poison animal eater. I'm not deaf, dumb, and blind. And I don't believe in no mystery God or no spook God. I know who the supreme being is. And my work is constantly struggling, striving, and straining, working double time, triple time, and overtime for the resurrection and rise of our people into a knowledge of self and into freedom and independence and the liberation and salvation of the black nation. I believe that the father, Brother Clarence 13X, was a man who was in many ways born out of due season and born ahead of his time. Born out of due season and born ahead of his time in this sense. I don't feel that over 30 years ago, that much that he set in motion that is spread like wildfire now across the country. Some of it has struck and hit the hip-hop nation and hit throughout and spreading throughout colleges and universities. There's no city, for the most part, that I can go to. And on many campuses where there is not some 5% representation, either on the campus or coming on a daily basis, building with the students on the campuses throughout. I believe that the controversies that rose up around Brother Clarence 13 were quite similar to controversies that rise up among those who have certain power and force with them and who, as I said, are ahead of their time or who are in some cases anachronistic in every season. His work is work that cannot be denied, and it is my firm belief that, as I said, there's a 5%, a 10%, and an 85% in everything. So by saying that, I'm not sciencing on you, but in the 5% Nation of Islam, there's a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. It may not be like the 10% and the 85% that's out in the world, but every organization, every nation, every movement has a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. It has a dedicated, a bourgeois, and the mass. It has a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. The Nation of Islam has a 5% under Minister Farrakhan, has a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. There are churches that have a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. There are cultural nationalists, Pan-Africanists, black nationalists, revolutionary nationalist organizations that have a 5%, a 10%, and an 85%. I'm making a case. I'm saying that when the 5% of the 5% Nation of Islam get with the 5% of the Nation of Islam, with the 5% of the cultural nationalists, revolutionary nationalists, Pan-Africanists, and the 5% among our people, when those 5%ers come together from the 5% and all of the organizations, those true 5%ers in every one of those different expressions of philosophy, ideology, and doctrine, when they come together, in my judgment, the white man has absolutely no chance whatsoever. It's important for the 5% Nation of Islam to rein in 10%ers who are in the 5% Nation of Islam. Because 10%ers can give the 5% a bad name all over the nation with certain lumping activity or certain activity that could be considered detrimental to the masses. The Nation of Islam must rein in the 10% of the Nation of Islam that give the Nation of Islam a bad name all over the country, in some cases all over the world. That must be done in every organization. But when all of those 5%ers come together from each of the organizations, including the 5% of the 5%, then that's a whole new dynamic. and a new day for the resurrection of the black man and black woman. I believe that the 5% Nation of Islam must do much more than it is doing. I believe that for the 5% Nation of Islam to have supreme wisdom, for the 5% Nation of Islam to travel on the high mental and spiritual plane that it travels on, that we have to see more godly activity manifest, willed into existence, and manifest from the 5% Nation of Islam. We cannot rest on having supreme wisdom. We cannot rest on knowing more than the masses, the 85%, who are just direction followers and going in flux and confusion in many directions. We can't rest on that. If we have supreme wisdom, when we know better, we must show better. And there are certain activity that a Muslim, a Sunni Muslim, a Shiite Muslim, Ahmadiyya Muslim, black Muslims are what I'm talking about in all of those schools. Nation of Islam, if it's Silas Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, if it's John Muhammad, it makes no difference. And along with the 5% Nation of Islam, when you say you are God, then God is not going to be found with a cigarette in his hand. God is too high. The Bible calls God the Most High God. He's too high to stoop down for a cigarette. God is not going to deal with no cocaine. That's right. Don't make me no damn excuse for that. Black Muslim Nation of Islam, no matter which camp we come from, no matter what school we come from, black nationalists, Pan-Africanists, cultural nationalists, revolutionary nationalists, don't make no damn excuse for being a nigger for the white man. If you are God and you're coming into that knowledge of God, as all of us are coming into that knowledge from the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and popularized by Minister Malcolm X, Brother Clarence 13, the father, and Minister Farrakhan and some others, as we now know that in all of these different groups, all of us are beginning to know that. When you God, you ain't got no cocaine, snort no cocaine. You God, you ain't dealing with no rocks. You ain't got no rock. What God look like with a rock? What God look like dealing death to his people? That ain't no God. God making some little nasty, wrinkled, filthy, diseased money with some dead Peckerwood president's picture on it. God is scuffling and grubbing in the streets to sell dope so he can get some little nasty, filthy paper with some Peckerwood's picture on it. And he God? No, that ain't God. No matter what set we come from. You know, that ain't God. And to go out and advance and play on our people and know that they don't know as much as we know and misuse them. You can't play on our people. And I ain't player hate neither. I ain't trying to player hate. But that's trying to be a player on our people. I don't care if it's Nation of Islam again, Sunni, black nationalists, Pan-Africanists, 5% Nation of... No, those are the 10%ers of all those groups. And so the 5%ers of the 5% and the 5% of all the others have got to grab those 10%ers in each one of those organizations. And then you got 85% in the 5% Nation of Islam and the 5% Nation that ain't doing nothing. They're just chilling. You got 85%ers in the Nation of Islam just chilling. Some have started believing in a mystery God. Start believing in a spook God after knowledge. That's in many of the camps and schools. Instead of believing that God, as our ancestors taught, is in our being and in us and emanates from us. And then no matter what name we call that God by, we're talking about the same power and force, the same netter, the same orisha. We're talking about the same power and force. Even in Christianity, each one of those disciples represents the 12-fold divine discipline system, the 12 attributes of the psyche of the man or woman. That's what each one of those disciples means something. Peter, his name means something. Simon Peter, Andrew, Bartholomew. Just like when we say Asa, Aset, Ogun, Oshun. When we run through all of these, or when we say Al-Rahman, or Rahim, or Al-Hakim, these disciples all mean something. All of that. Each one of the religions has a system that plugs us into the God power that's within us. But we got to act what we are. Again, when you know better, you must show better. You must do better and not be found wallowing and making excuses in the filth of the white man's world. That's my humble opinion.